What was I supposed to say? Hey, we're live.
This is fucking Jack, you whore. Whore. You're dirty whore, mommy. Why are you talking to me like that, whore? I'm gonna stick my tongue in your pretty pink. I couldn't help it. Welcome, everybody, to one of our Christmas episodes. That's my opinion towards Christmas this year. This is the Ghastly Hallows, and I am Pumpkin Jack, accompanied today by two guys who couldn't get the cue. But you care to introduce yourselves?
This is I Refuse to Be Sued, Bolt.
La 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 la. Red.
Sued by who, Bolt?
Anyone and everyone. It's been a day.
Sued by the beautiful women down at the offline TV house? Don't worry, they're not gonna sue us. Our name isn't Leafy is here.
That's a throwback.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, in today's subject, for anybody trying to follow along with the headlines, we are discussing the classic from hold on, I always get the year wrong when this 1974. Wow, yeah, this predates a lot of films from this genre. Black Christmas, 1974, starring Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, John Saxon, and this guy who everybody knows as a that guy because we only ever see him as a that guy. Make sure I got the right guy because he's like
The preferred term is character actor.
Yeah, he's definitely a character actor.
Though I kind of like I kind of like the term that guy.
Oh wait,
it
wasn't him after all. All right, that's fine. I thought that guy was that guy all along. Yeah. It's not him.
Like James Cromwell, he's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but I was right. This guy's not even a that guy. I just never saw him again, or if I did, I just never recognized him again. So it's fine. We don't need to mention who Peter was. The weird boyfriend Peter, who was I was actually going to ask you guys a bit of questions because one of us here actually does know a little bit more about music than the rest. What you know what? Before we jump into that, who cares to summarize this one, or should you leave that task up to me this time?
No. I'm feeling festive.
Would you care to talk about your exploits at the offline TV house again, or how are we doing this one?
I mean, instead of like summarizing, let's just try treat this as like a questionnaire.
All right.
So like, what do you do when you hear a phone call that is from an unknown person, male or female, doesn't matter who, but you just hear obscene things, threats against your livelihood?
Hang up the phone and call star 69.
That's option A. Remember, this was in the 70s. This movie, when this takes place. Is it B, continuously engage and hear them and then fight back against them, or C, do you go back to drinking with your dead mother as she puts on something that she doesn't care for? If you pick A, you are correct.
I mean, if you could have done that back in the 70s, I would have. Could you do that back in the 70s? Call star 60. Was it star 65 or star 69?
69 sounds right.
Oh my goodness, you two.
Bolt's not having it.
No.
Hey, look, Bolt, I know this one brought back a lot of memories of your failed infiltration mission, but you know, maybe you should have watched this one for a bit of instructions. You know.
Okay, so you want me to be the unidentified monster in this film? Actually, no, I'm not sure if this is a monster. Like he was human away. I don't know. He's like some unidentified creature who flew into the house.
He didn't fly into the house. He climbed up through a tree next to the house.
Oh, according to that camera angle, it could have fooled me. But yeah, he climbed.
They're not gonna. They didn't have GoPros in the 70s to make it look the way that it did. God, You
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, it made
you robots and your shit.
according to that. Well, right. All I'm saying that this killer was very successful. He did not get caught once.
Nope. As a matter of fact, he kind of got let go a few times because if they would have just simply checked the second phone and from the beginning, they might have found him. If
Or
they would have
check-
gone up to the attic,
Yeah.
they might have found him.
Well, so I kind of got a clue that that there was a second phone because
They said
the housemaid or what's her name?
the dead
She's
mother.
not the landlady. She's like the sort of like the adult that
The dead
runs
mother,
the
yeah.
store.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said that she had a separate phone line,
Yeah,
so I was sort of like, okay.
but they
That
overlook
means-
it. Like they just keep ignoring these things. It's like, oh yeah, well no, we don't need to check that. No, we don't need to check that. And I'm like, yes, you do. Yes, you so fucking do.
So it was all the stupid cop.
Wait,
Nash, that was his name. Yeah.
It wasn't just Nash though. Like,
Yeah.
Officer Dream over there, he kept fucking forgetting. He's the one who's ignored that there was a second phone call in there. I forget his name, Officer John Saxon. I forgot his character's name. I'll go look it up. I keep calling him all kinds of inappropriate yet appropriate names throughout the rest of the night. It was Detective Fuller. God damn it, that is also a very sexual name on occasion.
The Canadians know how to write a screenplay. I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually really liked the movie. This is my first time watching it, but I really liked it. I liked the fact that it was a mystery as well as a horror movie because for a while it just sort of seemed like a like at the beginning it seemed like a slasher movie for slasher movies' sake.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't really know anything about the killer, and I was like, is this just going to be the whole movie with some guy sneaking up behind people, the dark shadow, and that's going to be it? Because with Halloween, we more or less know who Michael is from the very beginning.
Yeah, there's
So
a face to the name.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of used to that sort of approach. So I was wondering, well, are we going to find anything out about this guy? But then, you know, as it went on, you get more clues. His behavior on the phone gets more mysterious and interesting as you learn a little bit about the storyline that he has going in his head with his with the different characters that he's voicing. There was also the possibility of, well, is the person on the phone the same person as the killer? So I like that there were like pieces that were kind of free floating for most of the movie, and then more or less came together at the end. Not everything comes together exactly perfectly, but I actually like that. I like that there's still a bit left up to the imagination.
Yo, that's how police work is in real life, man. Like a lot of people tend to think it's like in the movies, you got your guy, and like not really. We just kind of got the guy who fits the bill most of the time, and then like
yeah, and we can't arrest him until we're really, really sure that
Yeah.
that he fits the bill, and even then we're not sure because he has to have a trial.
Yeah, and even then, like in the trial, if somebody uses the wrong word a bunch of times, OJ, they walk free. If it's discovered that the detective used a slur a few times, it's over. That guy just walked free at the end of the story. So,
Well, I mean, but there was the glove. Come on.
you know what's fucked up?
He had a little bit of trouble putting on the glove. That means everything.
Do you know what's fucked up? Somebody years later, and not that long ago, actually showed that the glove argument was the wrong one because there's actual footage of him wearing that exact glove and it fits. The reason why the glove didn't fit is because the glove is made out of leather, and
it's shrunk.
And the human body, our blood has a lot of sodium in it, and the blood was covered in blood. It's like a glove was covered in blood. So
Wow. Oh, and
leather
it removed
salt
water from the glove?
shrinks. Salt shrinks leather.
Okay.
So
It's
if
good
you
to know.
try to put it on, it's not gonna fit because blood shrinks leather.
Right.
So that's
Interesting.
how that wasn't that right there shows everybody he did it.
It's fascinating. Yeah.
However, people don't know their science, and it's funny because in the black community, everybody knows how to care for sneakers and shoes. And everybody in that 5 seconds go, no, we need one of us to get off, and this just has to be the guy. Nobody said shit. That was the end of that one. Nobody said shit. All the sneakerheads that know how to preserve those 1994 Jordans, they all know how to preserve them. Nobody said shit. Nobody spoke up. They're like, nope, we're not gonna say shit. We're just gonna keep quiet about this one. Because if you go throw salt on somebody's sneakers, they'll actually beat you up because salt shrinks the leather down, shrinks the leather down in the sneaker. Same shit.
So if your sneakers are too big, you could just salt them.
Salt them, yeah, but that'll also leave them all
Yeah.
fucking weird.
There's got to be a recipe, like 1 teaspoon per men's size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So back to the adventures of Bolt inside the offline TV house. So,
all right. So since we established that you do not continue the deranged, unhinged, threatening voice on the other line, what is your next step when apparently someone that was supposed to go away with their parents back home for the holidays doesn't, and the room is locked and no one even bothers to check it?
oh,
What
man.
do you do? I'm not going to give you multiple choice. Just tell me what's the first thing that comes to mind. What you should do.
I've had to kick the door down before.
Well, I'm not.
B.
What's B? Choice. What is B?
I mean, B line for the door, like leave.
No, I pick option B.
Okay. All right. What we're looking for is check the attic.
Why?
That's what
Nobody goes up there.
Exactly.
No, there's an attic. There's an attic in the house that we rent. I've never been up there.
Bingo. Nor do you want to go up there.
Look, but here's the thing: you must always check your attic, because if you don't, you might have a squatter there, and he will make himself at home, and you will never get him out.
Here's the thing: if there is a squatter up there, and you see the squatter, do you think you're gonna be able to walk away from that?
I mean, it depends.
Do you want to see the squatter? I might as well just leave him the bucket of fish heads and walk away. I don't want to see the fucking squatter. Somebody already went that mile to break into your house, and they probably have the nuts to go down into your house and take food and pilfer. I don't think they're going to think twice before doing something to you if you catch them.
If I find a squatter upstairs, I'll say, listen, if you just throw down a burlap sack full of rent money every month, I won't say anything to anybody.
It defeats the purpose of them being a squatter. They don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Well, but maybe they don't want to squat somewhere else. They've been squatting a while and they want to continue to maybe not squat but be there.
Hey man, I heard you guys just came back from a wedding in New York. Can I see pictures? I heard you guys talking about it. Now Red's gonna go with a gun and check the attic.
Look, better say.
I'm gonna leave the house. That's what I'm gonna do.
See, that is the true correct answer. You leave the house.
Yes.
Don't check whether or not if your housemate has went to your parents, even though they're desperately looking for them, and they were getting bullied by random people. Which that was hilarious. I'm like, how? You're on screen for 30 seconds. How are you already getting bullied like you were in high school as a grown man? College people were terrible back then.
Oh, boy. It was a different time. So, continue your questionnaire.
Oh, yeah. So, next up is, when you're having a conversation with the authorities about said missing girl that you have failed to locate the body for, and you mount a search party and discover another dead body. Well, no, a dead body, not another yet. But you found a random dead body that has no bearings on the situation whatsoever. What do you do next?
All right, before I answer that question, I'm just going to go ahead and do something real quick. The plot of Black Christmas is some crazy guy breaks into a sorority house and hangs out in the basement. He's hanging out in their attic, and he's harassing them, giving them phone calls. But nobody understands how the calls are coming into the house. No one understands that the people are going missing because he's doing a very good job of killing Michael Reeves and the rest of the people behind everybody's back. So that's the purpose of this odd questionnaire that we're getting that does not hit all of the plot lines, but we're getting there slowly but surely, folks. Continue.
I feel like I'm on one of those old dating shows where it's like, the bachelor number 2. Which sorority sister would you kill first?
You know what's fucked up? There was a serial killer on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a serial killer on the dating game once. Yeah, this is the second time that's come up today because there was like a weird thing my friend sent me from my friend in Canada sent me, and now I'm over here talking about it with y'all. So there was actually an episode out there where a serial killer popped up on the dating game. Some guy called Rodney Alcala, and I think he won too.
Of course he did.
He won. But in all fairness, if you go look at him, he wasn't a bad-looking guy for the 70s. He looked like your typical kind of sleazy 70s hunk. With like the long, flowing black hair. But, you know, you're like, oh, shit. Yeah,
is that the way he described himself on the dating show? I'm a sleazy 70s hunk.
He looked like it. 100%.
He loves sushi.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah. There was a lot of those kind of jokes on that 70s show, too, and that dating show. So.
You know, I'm Michael Richards. Kramer was also on one of those dating shows.
You know what's fucked up about that guy? I will never get over what he did 19 years ago.
Yeah.
He was the sacrificial lamb that told celebrities, you got to be on good behavior. It's not just paparazzis walking around with those big-ass cameras anymore. Anybody's got one on their pocket nowadays. Everybody's got to be on good behavior. Yeah. Everybody. You know what sucks? No one got footage of when the tiger freaked out and bit Siegfried and Roy. Like, that's the one thing I did want to see footage of, but you can't find them. There's none of that.
Oh, man. You guys have to use your imagination for that one now.
But I don't want to use my imagination. I want to see the footage and be all fucked up about it. Like that CEO who got shot. It's fucked up, but there's footage of it, and I've seen it.
I meant to go find that today. I got distracted.
I found it. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, wait, there's footage of this? And I went to go look it up, and it's not that violent or graphic, but there is just like a movie scene. You could even cut the Godfather music to the back of it. Then like a guy gets shot. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that happened.
All
wow.
Right. Random tragedy aside.
It's not a tragedy. That guy was responsible for more tragedies than anything else. So, continuing along with your questionnaire, what happens next?
We're going to have a tangent, and we're going to talk about music recitals. Don't ask why. We're just going to do it. Like, if you have a music recital the next day, what do you not do the night before?
I got a question for you guys. Would you have told him right before a recital?
Oh, that's
so. Let me explain this one better. So, the main character, our fine Jess, played by the beautiful Olivia Hussey. God damn, I'd be mad too if that was lost that.
You know, even if it is pronounced Hussey, even if it is pronounced Hussey, please say Hussey.
Yes, Hussey. Because the subject that this girl's involved in, I don't want to be calling her Hussey the whole time, but she is fine as shit, and I still find that woman very attractive to this day. She was in It also, and goddamn, she aged well. Anyways, so Goddamn. Anyways, goddamn. Anyways, back to the point. So she finds out that she's pregnant, knocked up. So this lady decides, like maybe 20 minutes before the recital, to go tell her boyfriend that not only is she pregnant, but that she's gonna have it aborted. And the guy now decides, to be like, you can't do that. Why'd you tell me if you're just gonna do that? Do you realize when you've done it? And then he goes and flubs his recital because he can't concentrate. His mind's somewhere else. So, and then I think that was an important one too, right? Like that was it seemed like that knocked him back a few pegs or something when he lost that and he failed at that recital.
Definitely, yeah. Now, see, the thing is, like, this is a classical conservatory where, classical music by that time, and I mean even before that, was getting a little heady, was getting a little like cerebral and a bit more experimental for popular taste. So when I was hearing him play, like a lot, it seemed very chaotic and kind of weird, but I was like, I mean, I'm not sure how it's supposed to sound. Mm-hmm. With some of the classical music that I've heard, I'm just like, I can't really tell if he's making mistakes or if that's the way it's supposed to sound.
So I had an advantage when I first saw this film because I used to date a music major in college, and I would go to her recitals at your alma mater. I would go to her recitals there once in a blue. So
at whose alma mater?
Yours. Red.
Delphi. Okay. Yes. Delphi University.
Yes, I would go to the recitals once in a blue, and I would hear people, like, before they would perform, I would hear other people with their instruments come out and perform with their instruments first. So I heard a pianist once, and he ripped that thing apart. Like, that thing was awesome, right? He did a great job. So I'd heard him perform a few times, and at Queens College, I'd also heard other pianists perform. So when I heard this guy, I'm like, oh boy, not only are you fucking up, you sound like a pissed off freshman who just got his first piano lesson. You, sir, are about to get booted spectacularly. And I don't know if he did or not, but he seemed really mad.
Well, here's the thing. We will never know because one, he went back later with a mic stand and destroyed the poor instrument. And then B,
that's also a major no. That's expensive.
I have a terrible confession to make. Oh, that was the kill in the movie that hit me the most.
The pure piano.
Respect.
His greatest crime.
I mean, in all fucking seriousness, you know how much those pianos cost?
When I was watching it, I just said out loud, money!
Yeah,
because it's like so expensive.
That's a legit piano. Like that was a classical wooden piano. They don't really like those. Have to be handmade. And this this fucking moron comes and takes a mic stand to it. What the fuck is wrong with you? You take out your anger on yourself. You go get drunk and you hurt yourself. You don't hurt instruments. And that thing looked like an old grand piano too. I'm like, no, you fucked up. You fucked up.
Yeah. What was cool about the score of the movie though was it was like, I should go back and watch it to see if like this is his theme, because there are parts of the score where you can tell that it's just the pianist running their finger across the strings inside the piano. Cool. So like sometimes you can lift up the how when a classical player is playing, sometimes the piano is opened up. Mm-hmm. What some classical players will do is they'll actually reach into the piano and pluck the strings with their hands, like a harp or a guitar. And there's parts of the strings where you can tell that the pianist is just running their finger down, so that it's like as dissonant as possible, because all of those notes are only a half tone apart. So I wonder. I want to go back and see like if they play that theme only in his scenes, like if that's sort of
You know what?
his,
If it is,
his or in opera it's called a light mode motif.
that makes me believe he might have been responsible for some of the killings.
Only some, not all. Like
Well,
I,
because I
I
think there is guaranteed to be a guy that was hanging out in the house.
Mhm.
Like I think there was a mental patient that was in the house, but I always wondered if he was responsible for some of those killings or not. Because he was freaking out a lot. Like this is why I always tell people like you really shouldn't freak out like this and act erratic because you put yourself right in the nook, right in the look. You know what I mean? Like with
Yeah.
that stunt, now
What
people are looking at him.
are you talking about a second killer?
Yes. Now I wonder if Peter, the pianist, wasn't one of the was actually responsible for some of them. Like I wouldn't be surprised now. Like maybe the Mother Superior did get killed by the psycho, but maybe he killed someone else. Maybe he killed a little girl in the park that we never
yeah, I was
see.
gonna go with that angle.
Wait, maybe I'm missing something. So there's two killers in the
No,
movie.
there's only one officially,
Okay.
but it's kind of like broken up. And later on, actually, like some of the writers actually pointed out that the way that it's done, uh, the timelines are a bit off. So, for
Uh,
example, whoever got killed that little girl who got killed, she might not have been Billy's victim
oh yeah. Okay. Yeah,
because
yeah, because yeah, that one doesn't really even really make any sense. Like
yeah,
why she was.
but there is
Uh,
someone else going around wasting people, and the timeline
yeah.
does add up with her after she tells him that he then freaks out and then he goes and kills a kid by accident or something, and that's
Mhm.
why his hands are a little shivery as he's doing the piano. His hands are like
Mhm.
he can't. It's not that he can't concentrate; so he's probably trying to hit the note. And you know how it goes. Unless your brain tells your hand to do one thing, but if you've been doing strenuous activity, that hand it doesn't do it. It doesn't function. So that's now I'm wondering with what I'm hearing about the piano stroking the piano, plucking the strings, if
Yeah.
he wasn't responsible or if it's when you're hearing the
Ah.
stalking, if it's not him stalking them too, because he's also being extremely erratic the whole night. And maybe sexy John Saxon was right. And this fucking guy was he was a prime suspect.
But then another possible victim was like the police officer that was staked out later in the movie because as like the officers are leaving, say for like the one that was stationed outside the house, that you see him in the dark, like
Yeah. And why was he hanging out in the basement like a creep? You know, like he was hanging out there. So I'm like, did you kill the cop? Were you on your way there to kill Jess and then you killed the cop on the way to kill Jess? Now I wonder. Right? Because like, did he kill the cop? But the other guy, I feel like he only killed people that were incident. Like he killed people who were alone. The Billy. But now I wonder like if that dude didn't kill the cop, and then he
Right.
was waiting to kill Jess. So when she found him, she might have been right to shoot him because she wasn't safe outside anyway.
I was wondering what made me wonder if there was a second person was that when you hear him talking on the phone, um it's from just the sounds of all the voices, like the tone quality of
It
all of the
sounds like
voices.
there's a woman talking with him.
It sounds like it could be him doing all those voices, but the voices overlap. Sometimes you hear two people talking at the same time briefly, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the voices do overlap. And I'm like, is it not just him? Like, is there more than one are we hearing an actual conversation between multiple people?
Yeah, and here's the other side of it too that was also kind of throwing me off just a little bit. Uh, there are periods there where with the noise that he's making, how is it that you're making this much noise, brother, and they can't hear you anywhere else in the house?
Yes, I thought that too. Yeah. Yeah, because it's I mean, just from like I don't know, we've never stood physically in the house, but just from like the sense of the sense of the house's structure that you get from the different scenes, it seems like it's not that big a house. Like, yeah, if he's making that much noise, then why didn't someone else hear him not on the phone, like through the walls?
Yeah, like somebody should have heard him.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
why.
to give the guy credit, during the first victim, it was during a party. Everyone was
Yeah.
drinking, especially the den mother. Yeah, she was useless. She was absolutely useless. As for the second victim, aka the den mother, she was alone when that happened. I mean, the only other witness would be the cat, and the cat would not have been that forthcoming. The horror movie that taught me anything about animals and horror.
Yes. Bolt and his
Claude.
never-ending anger against the cats.
It's not anger. I just don't trust animals that lead people to their deaths.
Here we go again, fighting with cats. And you got anything better to do than to stop picking fights with cats?
No, to be fair, the cat in this instance was justified to get rid of the den mother because the den mother was a liability. We all know it. She was funny. She was hilarious, but
I like the den mother. I'll
See,
have you know.
I mean, I couldn't stand the sight of her having lipstick on only one half of her lip. I was like, she's gotta go. She has to go. Please end this.
What did it for me is when she pulled out booze from the top of the toilet and then used that as mouthwash while brushing her teeth. I'm like, that is disgusting in various ways. I didn't know.
Well, maybe she's trying to reduce the risk of swallowing actual mouthwash, because that's not good. Swallowing booze, you can deal with that, but even in the morning, but you don't want to swallow mouthwash.
But booze hidden in a toilet?
It
Come
happens.
on. No, booze in a Bible makes sense. Booze in a shoebox makes sense. Booze from a toilet?
That's some prohibition shit right there. That's
Well, you got to look at her age. That might have been some stuff they were up to at that time in their lives. Like maybe they saw grandma do it, and then they're like, "I'm gonna do it too." I'm like, yeah, but in all fairness, like I was grossed out. I'm like, "Why are you drinking fucking toilet booze, lady?" Like you live in a. Like, I understand it's annoying watching after these girls, but you signed up to do this. You live there for free. Don't give me that shit. Don't those den mothers live there for free?
Yeah.
All they do is just watch the house. That's it. Because they were sororities there at one point in their better years. But,
and I think she was low-key trying to flirt with the father of one of the victims, which I'm like, if you're going to do that, disregarding the fact that this man may or may not be married, you don't do that while having toilet booze in your mouth. It's just not a good look for you.
Also, maybe not while his daughter is missing.
Also, not while your teeth are like super fucking brown.
Bad timing.
Yeah. I mean, the daughter missing is the perfect opportunity to hit on him. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But no.
Like, he's emotionally vulnerable. She's comforting-ish, kind of, not really.
I did not find her comforting.
No, he was not comforting at all. At all. Actually, I'm going to segue into that with something with this one. None of the people in this movie that are supposed to be authority figures or helpful are either helpful or comforting in this situation.
Not even the detective?
I thought the detective was pretty good.
The main detective, but it's like you have to go through a couple of layers before you get to Detective Felicio. Like the rest of them are kind of stuck there. Everybody before you get to him are like complete assholes.
Okay, no. Officer Felicio is what you need to be using for the guy who got hit with that. He's Officer Felicio. Detective.
Detective Hard on there. Fine, I'll call him Detective Hard on. I already forgot his name.
Oh, Nash.
Yeah, Nash was the fucking guy on the counter. Detective Felicio, Officer Felicio is Nash. The other guy, I forget his name all the time. Detective Hardthorn, Hard on, whatever his name is.
He was good. He was like one of those. It's like sometimes you see in a movie someone portrayed as being like really, really good at their difficult job. and it's just kind of satisfying to watch that.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
enough of this shit.
I personally identify with the Laughing Detective, and yes, that's how he's described as the Laughing
The
Detective.
laughing detective.
He was my MVP for this film.
That
Like,
sounds that sounds like a short mystery, like you're opening up a book of short Ray Bradbury stories, and one of them's called The Laughing Detective.
Hmm. So I actually wanted to go into this one now that we're talking about the cast. So believe it or not, a lot of the people in this movie are heavy hitters, and a lot
Yeah,
of
Margot
them.
Kidder.
Yeah, you have Margot Kidder, you have John Saxon, Olivia Hussey. Believe it or not, is popular. A lot of us saw her in high school. We just don't remember the movie. I'll tell you which one right now. If you had to do English class, she was most likely the Romeo and Juliet movie you saw back in the day. She was Juliet.
Oh, which one is that?
68.
68. Oh, okay.
That's her.
Hmm.
Uh,
I think the
from
only one I've seen is the Leonardo DiCaprio one.
Believe it or not, that was the first one I saw. But when I got to English
Yeah.
class, like our teacher absolutely hated it. So he's like, "No, you're watching this one." I'm like, "Okay." And then I saw Olivia Hussey. I'm like, "I can understand why you're making me watch this one, Mr. Gold." God damn. And then I forgot about her, and then I saw her again this movie. I'm like, "Ah, yeah, it's her again." God damn.
oh, she was in Boy Meets World and Batman Beyond.
Yeah, but she did voices in Batman Beyond.
Yeah,
Probably a very sexy voice, but still a voice nonetheless.
Talia
God
al
damn.
Ghul. So you're
Oh,
not,
she was Talia al Ghul.
yeah, in both that one and Superman the animated series.
I
But
would have totally stayed with the League of Shadows for her. God damn. Anyways, back to the point. You have Talia al Ghul, Batman's chick, and
I see that you're more man than bat. That's her sexy voice.
for you, lady. Well, actually, no, for that lady too. What's her name right now? Eartha Kitt back in the day. Eartha Kitt in the '60s. For you, I am definitely more man than bat. Mm. Yeah. Then Eartha Kitt back in the day used to look like Thandie Newton. She was hot as shit until she became old and crazy, and she was still funny. Back to the subject though. What's funny with this movie though is a lot of these people that were cast, believe it or not, they're the B selection. Only two people in this movie were like the first choices. The three were the first choices. And a lot of them were not. So like for example, Phyllis, that was supposed to be that lady from SNL, Gilda Radner, but she said no. She was in, and then she had to get out because she was starting SNL and she was getting bigger. So she was replaced. And then apparently Betty Davis was supposed to be the Mrs. Mack, and she turned it down. She turned it down in favor of something else. And then lastly, the other one that I thought was also very interesting, who was one of the first picks, was, believe it or not, Peter. I didn't know this until I was done, but he was one of the astronauts in A Space Odyssey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was one of the. I think he's the main astronaut, Peter Bowman or something, and something like that. But like
Very
this
interesting.
one is one of those times, right, where like you have a movie that has a bit of is a bit powerful, but because it's such a strange one, no one knew how to cast this one, no one knew how to market this one, and to this day, like we're still kind of finding that to be an issue. People don't know how to market these. This was, I think, one of the first Christmas horror movies ever made.
Okay.
Now they're commonplace, but back in the day, this was like one of the first ones.
Yeah, I was wondering what would be the first Christmas horror movie.
I think this was one of the first ones,
This might be it. Yeah.
as it is like they even changed the name, believe it or not, when it released here to the States. They call it like a Silent Night, Bloody Night, or something like that. They changed it because they didn't know. They're like, how are people going to take this? This is a very like graphic movie. We haven't even discussed the kills yet. uh, Billy killing the den mother with the hook to the mouth, bringing her into the closet. Like, this is a very graphic death movie, and you're wondering like, how are we gonna market this?
Yeah,
And,
pretty brutal. Not only that, but the girl that gets suffocated with the plastic. That
Yeah.
the aftermath of that is on one of the posters
yep.
for the movie. It's actually on multiple posters of it. But when I first saw that, I was like, that's on the cover. That's really brutal for the cover. Just like a dead girl that's obviously suffocated from the plastic on her, and it's a painting too. It's just like,
not only that, but her death is like becomes a steady reminder throughout the film. It's like, oh yeah, they still don't know what happened to Claire.
yeah.
Well, keep showing what happened to. I'm like, we get it. She hasn't been discovered, and it just gets very, very unsettling, deranged every time you see her on screen because like something's new added. It's like either a moaning. I'm not sure if it was another animal. But it was just weird. I'm like, this poor woman can't rest.
But no, so that's like one thing I also wanted to point out. Like, this one, the deaths were pretty brutal, but I think they're also very realistic looking deaths. This is before, right? Like, we got to that point where the deaths in horror movies had to be a little bit out there and wacky. And this one, like, nah, this shit is a bit real.
Yeah,
this is a bit tough.
Yeah,
because you don't kill Barb, it was kind of tough.
Because like you meet, because like in Halloween, you don't meet any of their parents. It's like, it's really kind of sad to watch this guy, like, asking people, have you seen my daughter, and knowing that she's dead.
Yeah, I felt really bad. I'm like, they shouldn't have showed her died in the beginning. They shouldn't have showed her death. They should have left it ambiguous. Just a little ambiguous, because I feel really bad.
Yeah.
I know this is a hopeless lost cause of a mission. Like, they're not going to find it.
Yeah.
He's not bringing his daughter home for Christmas.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, a very realistic thing, too, because I remember hearing kids like this when I was younger. This girl, right, why Barb is angry is because her mom don't want her around. Like, her mom, like, abandoned her at Christmas time. She said, well, why can't I go, too? Well, I don't want to bring you. End of story. Like, figure it out.
And she copes by drinking and even feeding, like, what was it? I think a child. I'm not sure if she was late to the kid, but like feeding him booze right in front of an adult with other people present. It's like someone should really grab the bottle away from her.
Well, in all fairness, what was anybody really like in those days? What could you really do to cope? Like nowadays, right? We would just go bully someone on the other side of the world over the internet, take our anger and frustrations out that way. We jump into a Call of Duty room and shout a bunch of obscenities at the other people, and that's how we vent our frustrations into the world. Or, you key Jamie Lee Curtis's car. But in all seriousness, like, what can you do in those days other than just drink? Like, that's what people used to do. They used to drink and smoke, and in her case, if she got lucky, she'd find some rando to have sex with to feel something. Like, her mom just told her, don't come home. Like,
she tried to, like, get a posse together at the party.
Yeah, that last minute though. Yeah,
I mean, she got some takers. The only one she didn't get was the main lead, Jess, and the only reason like she didn't want to entertain it because she had her own stuff to deal with, aka an abortion that she was planning to have.
So that plot keeps coming up, right, with the abortion one. Believe it or not, even for 1974. It was pretty risque back in the day. It was a very provocative thing to be talking about at the time. But what I've read over the years that was a bit more controversial than her wanting to get the abortion was the fact that it seemed like the detective was a little more worried about that guy's choice of words than he was about what she was doing. Because over time, that action in some films has been converted over to making her into a killer or making her into some kind of villain or something like that for wanting to do it. versus in this one, it's not like that at all. The detective is kind of more like, that's not my problem. My problem is, why is he using that kind of language? Why is, like, this is a motive now. And they're like, what do you mean? He's possessive. He might be distraught, and he just happens to be at the right places at the wrong time, and his timeline is adding up. Like, what? Like, why is he using that kind of word? And then, like, when she fesses up to the detective doesn't even, like, flinch. He's just like, okay. And he starts to put together a pattern in his head.
Well, he knew that she was keeping something from him.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like, we have to keep in mind it was a Canadian film, so that kind of like speaks to how their values at the time were different in regards to, like, say this like happened in America.
The thing is, the writer, although the movie is shot in Canada, the writer's an American. Bob Clark is to my understanding, Bob Clark is a 100% red-blooded American kind of guy.
Do you think a Canadian could have made a Christmas Story? Hell no.
No.
Well, it says that
Watch, it turns out that he is Canadian.
No, he is 100% New Orleans, Louisiana trash. 1939. He was born.
I'm
he
looking
has
at
a lot of.
Not only is he American, but he's from the real America. I've been told.
And he has a lot of movies that are like mixed horror comedies that are like a murder, like American trash movies. Porky's, Murder by Decree, Christmas Story. Like, he has a couple of movies under his belt. And he's like, he lived in all the parts that are like red states, Alabama, Fort Lauderdale.
Oh yeah, it says that according to Wikipedia, it says that he grew up in Birmingham.
Yep.
After having been born in New Orleans.
Yep. Like, he's from those parts of the world, so like, it's kind of weird when you see this kind of story come out, because it's like, you wouldn't expect that from this dude, you know?
Yeah.
Like, of all the people, this is just not the dude you're gonna expect that from.
Well, should we credit the screenwriter Roy Moore, because he's a Canadian screenwriter, so maybe why it was how certain things were, the dialogue was how it was. That kind of had probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sometimes, I mean, like, writing credits are not as straightforward as is often thought.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I think the director really has a lot more control over the story than would be suggested by, like, the writing credits.
Mm-hmm.
So when a movie or a TV show says that it's written by this person, sometimes it was only like partly, and sometimes even barely written by that person. So, but I just have no idea in this case.
No, like, this one is one of the ones where I've heard Bob Clark had a lot of input, because he put in a lot of humor into it. That's why, like, there's a lot of silly things that happen throughout the movie, but it's like, when he was doing it, it's like, yeah, you can't have straightforward horror. Like, why? Well, you need to give the audience a bit of a break. So, for example, the two cops, like, bickering with one another, it's kind of funny, but it removes you from the fact that this guy's already wasted like 4 people, and he's like not slowing down any minute.
Right. Yeah, there's like huge gaps between kills in this movie. Yeah, like, it's a movie that takes its time.
But I kind of like that, though.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I like movies that take their time.
It also makes the kills make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't the kind of like gore fest that I was expecting, because I really didn't have much of an idea of what this movie's reputation was. I had never really heard much about it. I had vaguely heard of it before, but I didn't really know what the general kind of consensus was. And the way that it opened, like I said earlier, it kind of felt like it was gonna be sort of like just really corny and all about the violence, but it was not that at all. I was very pleasantly
that would be
surprised.
The 2006 remake. That one was 100% all about the violence.
Let's make it worse. Yeah. Yeah, some remakes are made with the intention of we're going to make it better than the original. Some are only some can only be saved by the assumption. Well, they just must have gone into this thinking, let's just make it worse.
And when you think of that,
Let's
always
literally
say
take
a wizard
everything
did it.
about the original. Let's literally take everything about the original and take it out that made it good, and just make a bad version.
Essentially.
Yeah. Was it bad, the 06 one? It wasn't bad in my opinion, but it was very different. Like it wasn't a remake, and I think people went in at the time hoping to get a remake of this one because it could use a nice fresh coat of paint. Like, you know, today, for example, the whole the calls coming into the house could work, but I feel like in today's standard, it would be more of a troll using video today. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the troll would be sending them, like, in a group chat, pictures of them, and then, like, they would be freaking out. Because they go, you know what I mean? Like, I see what you're doing kind of thing. And then sending, like, really mean things as he's watching them. And a dude could pick up a phone and mask it very easily nowadays, even if he's insane. Like, you just kill someone and take the phone. But it could use a fresh coat of paint, but we haven't gotten that yet. They've remade it twice, and we still haven't gotten a good coat of paint like we want. They just keep finding a bunch of sexy women and throwing them into a house and saying like, "All right, we're doing it this way now. We're doing it that way now." The 06 cast is also very popular. I think Blake Lively was in there. I think Lacey Chabert was in it too. And then in this round, I know like there's only one girl that I recognize in the latest one from like 2020, 2021, I think it was. It was like Imogen Poots, that was it. But before we focus on that, I actually wanted to ask you guys one thing. What do you guys think of the voices that Billy was doing?
Oh my goodness.
Well, Billy was one of the characters. Peter's the guy.
Well, Billy, the fans call the guy on the phone Billy.
Okay.
Because you don't really know by the end if it was Peter or Billy. Like it so it's
like,
ambiguous.
Where does Peter begin? Where does Billy? Yeah.
So the ending, it's like you don't know if it was Peter killing people or not. Although I think in those 5 seconds he was gonna kill Jess, in my book. But the guy in the attic is Billy. Like that's what the fans collectively call him. He doesn't have a name officially, but the fans call him Billy Lenz or something like that.
Yeah, because you never see the killer clearly. I mean, it does kind of have the shape. Yeah, you see the eyes. He does kind of have the shape and similar hair to Peter, but you don't really see it. You don't ever see him very clearly.
No, and then the question is, at the ending, who's staring from the attic?
Yes, yeah, and you hear some singing.
Yeah, like
yeah,
some shit. So like, you don't know what happens to her. It leaves like, oh shit, they got the wrong guy, and in true fashion, they left her there all alone, unprotected by this guy.
Yeah, the officer out front. I'm just like, why is he outside the house?
Like that guy should be parked right next to her door. Like,
yeah,
he shouldn't be there. But that's kind of like where it goes. Like, what did you guys think it really was Peter that was going around killing all of the sisters, or do you think it was the dude in the dude in the attic was somebody else? Because everybody said to me different things when I asked them that. They're like, wasn't it the same guy? I'm like, it's not. In my book, it's not. But some people have argued that it is.
I mean, like I want to say, like it's just like this killer was very meticulous and or very lucky, because for the like, how could he have known that this random sorority girl was gonna be pregnant and it wanted to?
Oh, he overheard the conversation.
No, but like, how would he have like figured that like that sorority sister would have like a boyfriend that would have like been manic after hearing the news, and then would coincidentally turn himself into a prime suspect without him planning for it?
Well, I don't think he was planning on the guy being manic, but I think he did hear the conversation, and I think the conversation drove him over the edge. Like, he heard the conversation, he just started to use that like as a way of taunting her, because I think he was having fun just taunting all of them,
Yeah,
and eventually prepping to kill them off one by one. That's what he was essentially doing. Like, he would taunt them and then he would kill them. Like, for example, I think he killed the den mother. Billy killed the den mother. I think Billy killed Barb, and I think Billy killed Phyllis. I think he killed them.
Mm-hmm.
Who I don't think Billy killed was the girl in the park and the cop. That's who I don't think Billy killed in my book. Because my question the question was and always is, if you were lounging around in the house, why didn't the cops stop you? And what were you doing outside of the house when this noise is happening? Like, you hear her screaming. Why are you not running to the front door and being like it's something like, baby, let me help you. Like, I'm here. Let's get out of the house together. Like, no, he's just like in the basement like a fucking freak. Like, I would assume, I don't blame her for shooting him. I would have shot him too. Like, you have a motive and you're freaking me out. I'm going to shoot you. And he was calling also, similarly crying to her, like, bitch, just don't kill the baby. Don't kill the baby. What's wrong with you? Like, yeah.
I forgot about poor Phyllis. I was more concerned with what's her face, that got ice picked to death.
Barb.
Was it? Oh. I don't know why I thought Barb was the name of the drunk den mother. I don't know why. She looked like a Barb, but poor Barb. Like, all she wanted was to spend time with her family at Christmas, and instead, she gets that.
Because
That's rough.
it is, bro. You know who I felt bad for in that situation? The cab driver.
Wait, what?
You remember when he kills the den mother, the cab driver's outside knocking the door like, hello?
Oh yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. He lost money on that murder.
Yep. He lost money on that murder.
Oh, man.
On top of that, like, what do you do with the bags?
Yeah. I was wondering what to make of the guys that knocked on the door that were part of the search party. And they were weird guys.
Oh, I'm like, yeah. Why was that in there? I'm like, wait, why are we?
I think it's I think it's to be self-referential, a red herring.
Yeah, I guess, but I feel like they could have if you
Again,
removed that part,
it's
it
a
would have
comedy
not
break.
changed.
Yeah, kind of a comedy break.
Yeah.
You know, but like enough, but like weird enough where it's like, you know, ooh, is that something? I don't know.
See, now it makes me want that, like, wish that they were like they stuck around. You know, now it's like, oh, we just let these two guys with guns and good, well intentions for the most part, like, just leave when you have literally an unknown murderer just running around the neighborhood, and a Vendrell ex, well, soon to be ex, I should say, because she didn't break up with him. You would think that was going to be the first thing she would have done.
Yeah.
Well, honestly,
at one point after things start getting rough between Peter and Jess, she describes Peter as her boyfriend to the cop, and then and then I just started wondering, like, if he's like, if he's like absolutely the murderer, and she needs to describe him to the cops, is she still going to call him her boyfriend? It's like, yeah, my boyfriend's a murderer. Just,
yeah, I wonder, right?
I mean,
like, if
he's my boyfriend. I haven't broken up with him yet.
Yeah, right. I was confused about, like, did you dump him? You went up to
Yeah.
like, Peter, I don't want to marry you. And he's like, still,
Yes.
we're not done here. I'm like, that sounds like every abusive bastard I've ever heard. And like, you're not done with the conversation after this chick told you no. I understand, sir. It doesn't get any hotter than her in the section of the world you're in.
Yeah.
But you got to let it go.
I've I've heard of people not breaking up even after one proposes to the other and the other says no.
Yeah, no, but in this one, it was like, I don't want to have
weird.
the baby. I don't want to marry you. I have my hopes and dreams. You can't ask me to give that up. It's kind of like, hey, this is done.
No, though, here's the thing. It's like it would set up for that, but she did not definitely say, I'm done with you. She just, I mean, like, I think we just needed 2 more seconds of him, and we would have gotten that completely. But, like, I guess she was at the point of, like, this is your last chance. Respect me and my choice, or we're done.
Respect my choices.
Or I'm going to gun you the fuck down. Which she did. And I
Wait,
sided with her. I forgot how she killed him.
She had, like, a fireplace poker, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. She had iron.
Okay, that's how she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was packing different type of heat.
Good old fashioned iron.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, lady, like, you got a lot of balls. Like, this guy has a lot of balls. This lady's armed. Why would you keep walking towards her? Like, she's armed. Like, but I guess it was a thing in the 70s, right? Men didn't think a woman with a weapon was dangerous or something like that. Because this happened like a couple of days ago with The Shining too, wasn't it?
Yep. I'm just like, wait a minute. We've seen this before.
That woman had a fucking bat, and that guy still was being annoying. Like, they're still being like threatening. She has a weapon. Just walk away. That's an equalizer.
She had 2. She had a knife and a bat.
Because Jack looks shocked after she hits him in the hand, where he's like, I can't believe she actually did it. And then she gets him in the head.
Then she gets him again.
Still for that, too.
So I actually want to bring up another. Like, I feel like this movie lends itself to a lot of true life situations. About 4 years ago, there was a woman in WWE who was wrestling. Her name was Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville was an actual trained fighter. I think she fought like an actual mixed martial arts for a little while there. And some guy tweeted that he was going to her house. And then he went on Instagram and started live streaming his journey to her house. Like, he actually put the camera on, like on a holster or something. And then he showed that he had bear mace, a taser, and he actually had like straps to tie her up. Mm-hmm. Because this guy thought that like he kept telling everybody, oh no, she loves me. She likes it like this. Let's also not gloss over the fact that Sonya Deville is a lesbian, and she is not interested in men, nevertheless, this guy. So here's what happens. She sees his ass coming through, because if we have rings, these people have something a little better than rings. They got surveillance cameras on their property. She sees him coming. He triggers an alarm. She grabs her friend and she runs to hide in a section in the house while they call the cops. He gets arrested, he gets picked up, and he gets taken away. So some people go, oh, well, if she knows how to fight, why didn't she walk out there and kick his ass? Homeboy had a long-ass pronged taser and bear mace. He came ready to roll. Those are equalizers. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're Bruce Lee. If somebody pulls out a gun on Bruce Lee, like, Bruce Lee's gonna do this. He's gonna put his hands in the air. Like, Bruce Lee's gonna go, "Wah!" and hands go up. It's over.
It's gonna be like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep, pretty much. Fucking bang. It's over. Yeah. No fight sequence, no nothing. Harrison Ford literally just got pissed in that sequence. It was hot. He was annoyed, and he fucking shot the guy and called it a day. And George Lucas just thought it was so funny, he kept it in the movie.
But that stuntman knew exactly what to do. The timing is perfect.
He's like, "Oh shit, gun go up, boom," and he kept his job.
Yeah.
And that was all improv. So I'm sitting here. looking at this situation, I'm like, you know what? Even if this cop were to have been there armed, people were like, oh, well, what was he gonna do? Like, nah, man, this guy caught the drop on him. This lady, even if this guy is bigger than her, I also have to point out why a lot of people still believe it could be Peter. Everyone he killed didn't see it coming. She's the first one that actually had the chance to fight back Jess. So when Jess, like, with what she had on her, that's an equalizer. Like, she can take anybody on. But for some reason in this time frame, like, they didn't believe that. But now me, like, hearing other stories, I'm like, no. There are ways that a small little person can take on a big person. That little person has a bat. That's that's advantage to the little person. It's not like in the movies, folks. You don't catch a bat like in the movies. You catch it and then you wrestle out of the person's hand. You try to do that, you're gonna lose a finger or you get your fucking fingers broken like right on the palm of the hand because that bat is kind of full force. It happened to someone I know. They were playing Jackass. They actually tried to stunt like, catch the bat.
That sounds painful.
And he was screaming.
But I will say, although yes, like she had at least an option to defend herself, she also had a better option of getting out of the house.
I don't think she would have been safe outside of the house anyway.
I mean, if we're under if we're operating on the idea that there were two killers, okay, yeah, she was screwed either way. Either you go and fight the unknown killing entity, or you confront your soon to be ex-boyfriend, who may or may not have murdered someone.
But I actually am going to argue, though, I would have left the house.
Wait.
The moment the cop is like, you're going to follow my instructions. You're going to go put your coat on, hang up this phone, and go wait outside. Detective Hardon is on his way. Wait outside. I would have gone outside with nothing but my coat on and waited for Detective Hardon. It's John Saxon. He gets it. But from there, I would have not done anything for the rest of the day. I would have just sat there and waited for Detective Hardon to take me. Now, in this situation, she decides to be the good person, but in all fairness, if I'm calling out to you and you don't come down on the second call down, I'm sorry, man. It's your fault for sleeping with fucking earplugs. I'm out. I don't know what you guys would have done in that situation, but if I call out to you like, hey, Bolt, Red, come down here. Come on, we gotta go. Bolt, Red.
I'm leaving. I would absolutely leave.
Nothing. All right, I'm gonna be waiting outside until Officer Sexy shows up and we can deal with this problem together. That is not my problem anymore.
Oh man.
But no, what would you guys have done? Red, you're awfully quiet. What would you have done in this situation?
Outline the situation for me again.
You get a call from Officer Fellatio. Red, you're going to do the following. You're going to put your coat on, you're going to grab your bag, and you're going to go wait outside. One of our people should be there in about 5 minutes. Be outside. And then she chooses not to be.
You know, it's just like, I mean, it would go against my instincts to just kind of trust what the person is saying. But then again, you know, like, I think I could probably put two and two together and think that, you know, like, okay, well, that probably means that I am in danger if I stay in this house, which means that the killer is probably in the house.
Mm-hmm. The calls are coming from inside the house. Like, and like some people go like, "Oh, he's stupid. Why did he say something?" I'm like, actually, man, he tried to do that like a gentleman. He tried to tell her just politely go outside. She didn't want to do it. He's doing it exactly as the guy told him. Just do it. And then once he stops, once she doesn't, it seems like she's not going to get the point. Then he loses his shit on her, which I actually don't blame him. I'm like, yeah, I'd lose my shit too. Like, you're telling you to get out of the house and she doesn't do it.
Yeah, but you still can't lose it even in that situation, and especially in those situations, because the moment you lose it, they lose interest listening to you, and they decide, oh, you know what, let me go see God for a moment. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. She should have. I don't know. I would have left the house.
Hmm.
I don't know about you guys. If you would have gone back in there, I would have left. Like this one's
Well,
not
at the
worth it.
very least, she should have taken like the poker or whatever like realistic weapon that she had that was in quick walking distance, and then left the house, because what she decided to do, I don't know how that door was locked. I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna chalk it up to shenanigans.
No, actually, the door was always busted.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that in the movie. I'm just like, you, and the thing is, she knew that the door was busted too. Like, she lived in the house long enough for her
They
to have
actually
that.
even discussed it. They're like, "Do you know that this is the only door in the house that is not locked? That actually know like all the doors and all the windows in the house they were unlocked."
Yeah.
One of them says that to the other. Like I think it's when they're down to the last two. They're like, "You believe that like this is the only door? This door is like one of the ways in. Like it's the only door that's locked. The rest of the windows and stuff in the house are unlocked."
Yeah, which was a cute thing to mention. But I'm just like, you just discussed this earlier. Why would you chance your life when your means of escape is unreliable? Like that thing could have been the end of her easily right there.
It could have, but yes. So on this subject, what do you guys ultimately think of this movie? Like, what's your biggest standout for you guys on this one?
I would say it have to be Barb. Yeah,
Lois
like
Lane,
Barb. Yeah,
aka Lois Lone.
when she was drinking alone, definitely it was. Oof.
That's a Seinfeld joke.
Lois. Can't stop calling you Lois.
I actually kept calling her Lois the whole time. Like, oh shit, Lois. And then I forget Lois was also in the Amityville movie. She was in the '70s one. She
Yeah,
was in that
yeah.
one too with
Which
Thanos' father.
yeah, that was like 1979, something like that.
Yeah, with Thanos' father, James
Yeah.
Brolin.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, that's Thanos' father.
Uh, cool.
So Thanos was shacking up with Superman's girl. She likes him godly. She likes him strong. So outside of this one, what's a standout for you, Red, on this one?
Oh, I just I'm gonna go real general. I just like the pacing. I like, again, I mentioned that it takes its time. There's a lot of space in between, and it balances really um, some really gut wrenching horror with some pretty zany comedy.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So I agree with that one, and I'm actually gonna take it one step further. I enjoyed both the pacing and the acting style of it,
Mhm.
but to me, the biggest highlight of this one was actually I've been making fun of it the whole time, but I actually like the way that it was shot, and I like the way that John Saxon's performance. It in today's world, this would be a network TV episode because you don't really see him gut anybody. The gutting kind, it's weird, right? Like I think this is a hard R, but you only really see him gut one person, which is the mother, the den mother. That's about it. She gets the hook in the mouth, but everybody else, you don't really see it. It's kind of like you hear him gutting people, but you don't see it. He's kind of screaming all funky too as he's doing it, like you are, like it's insane. But you don't see him do it. You just hear him do it. So when it
Yeah,
comes to this one, like it's so scary, but they actually did it by design. You don't hear anything. You don't know. You don't even know anything about Billy. They actually kept that ambiguous as shit on purpose because they're like, we want it to not. in realistic fashion, right? Like it's scarier when you don't know, like a crazy person that has problems that you'll run into on the street. Like you don't know anything about this guy, so it kind of like makes you wonder, like, hey, I don't know anything about this guy. Like, what is he capable of? What is he not capable of doing? And it's maybe better we just, keep your distance. And that's why he's so ambiguous. But I always thought it was pretty cool. Like it is ambiguous, and it works really well that he's as ambiguous as he is.
Yeah.
So I gave this one 5 stars all around. I enjoyed the pacing, the humor. It wasn't corny. I think you guys enjoyed this one too, so much so for the first time I heard someone wants to do a second watch on this one, because even the music seems to have its own little hidden little details on it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas no one's rushing to go see Flesh Eater a second time around here, folks, except for me.
You're a masochist, that's why.
I'm also writing something about that one. So, closing thoughts, and then I'll let you guys go on about the rest of your day, evening, wherever that cult area is at that our friend Red lives in.
This is the cult area.
Yes, it is. There's a bunch of cults in your backyard at any given time.
That's hard to dispute. I'm sorry.
That's why I stay inside.
Uh-huh.
Cult. In the cult-free zone.
Closing thoughts for me, I would say, if anything, this is why we use the buddy system. This movie helped me remember why I advocate for the buddy system at times. Not always, but at times I will advocate for the buddy system.
Gotcha. About you, Red.
Normally, during the Christmas time, it's just ho ho ho. But since there were so many sorority sisters in this movie, it's actually ho 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 ho.
And a hussy.
And hussy, yes, thank you.
That was not approved by corporate.
You know what?
All right. I'll start on my way to HR.
This one, to me, is just a retelling of how I hoped Project OTV would work out. And it was supposed to end with us doing this and then one of them running into your arms. But unfortunately, you can't do that right now, can you?
Tanya.
I got to go ahead and start calling that guy with that voice. Here, now, that I'll get you. I'll got you. Yeah.
Good luck getting a millennial in this day and age to pick up a phone.
Oh, they will. All right. And I am Pumpkin Jack. This is coming out of the Ghastly Hallows. My co-hosts.
The Fraternity Bolt.
This is Red.
And we are... Sorry?
And always.
What? I didn't hear you on that last one, sorry.
I said ever and always.
Forever and always. And we are signing off with our Christmas kickoff. I plan on taking this shit on Christmas a lot this year because I'm not very festive. I'm more Grinch-like and Krampus-like this year.
Oh, so what I thought you were saying was you were telling us that on Christmas Day you were planning on taking a shit.